Hello everybody and welcome back to another video. Today I'm just gonna tell you about something that I did yesterday. So if you follow me on Instagram or Twitter, you probably noticed that there was a special event in my home city about which I was super duper excited. And that was that both Gayle Forman and Maggie Stiefvater came to do a kind of talk and discussion and also a signing. So Gayle Forman was here as part of the tour and to promote her latest release with biking, and that is obviously I Was Here. I'll be honest, I've read some Gayle Forman. I had read If I Stay and I honestly didn't enjoy it all that much, and I have not yet read Just One Day by Gayle Forman, but this book, I Was Here, really caught my eye because I know it deals with teen suicide and comes from the perspective of the girl who committed suicide of her best friend, and the idea of like, I'm the one left behind, what do I do in this situation? And I thought that sounded really cool. So when I knew she was doing a book tour, I said, oh, that's really cool. Nobody ever comes to my city, or really to my state, all that much. However, she and Maggie Stiefvater are fairly good friends, and Maggie Stiefvater obviously lives in Virginia and actually not too far from Richmond. And by not too far, I mean like 2 hours away, probably at minimum. And they decided to come to Richmond and do a talk. Gayle Forman obviously was focusing on her latest book, I Was Here, and Maggie was focusing a bit more on the Raven Boys as opposed to some of her other novels. I have said several times how much I love Maggie Stiefvater on this channel. I've reviewed the Scorpio Races. I did, I think, the Raven Boys way back, and I really love her writing, and so it's just like, I'm going to this event, it's gonna be awesome. I actually only heard about it through one of my co-workers and friends who unfortunately couldn't go to the event with me. I was so bummed. But one of my other friends, we marched together at university, and she's a librarian now. We both, both read some of the same books and we get all excited over them. I told her, I haven't mentioned this was happening. She goes, I'm coming down for this. And I was like, heck yes, so much fun. And this was being held in a library, but hosted by an indie bookseller, Fountain Books, which is in Richmond. And for anybody who's ordered signed copies of Maggie Stiefvater's books, I think the Fountain bookstore is like the only bookstore she really goes through for her signed copies. So if you're ever looking for signed copies of Maggie Stiefvater's book, I will link the Fountain bookstore down below. They do ship their stock, and they get tons of stuff from Maggie Stiefvater and from other writers and such, and I haven't yet visited them. I feel really terrible. Like, I really need to go visit these guys. But they're really cool, and they ran the event like beautifully. We showed up and we decided not to pre-order any books and have them like held for us. We thought about it, but navigating the web page actually got a little funky when we were thinking like, how do we specify this is for the event? So we're pretty sure they're gonna have plenty of books there. So we show up and we bought the books that we wanted to get signed. Both Gayle Forman and Maggie Stiefvater came out. Gayle Forman was interviewed by a blogger, I believe she must be a local blogger, for a little bit, and then she brought out Maggie Stiefvater, and they just sort of took the stage and they talked. Last time I talked about a signing, which was when Jenny Han was here doing To All the Boys I Loved Before, I'd actually taken some video footage. This time I wasn't able to get some video footage, mainly because I really wasn't in a good seat to be doing any video footage, and I didn't want to like hold up my hands with my phone awkwardly, and there were people sitting behind me, so that would have been like really rude and awkward, so I didn't get any video footage, but there were some really fun things. We learned that Gayle Forman, unfortunately, has had her heart broken only by platonic friends, and Maggie Stiefvater has only ever had her heart broken by her Camaro. Yep. We learned that Maggie Stiefvater likes to bathe in the tears of her readers because it's what keeps her young, and that also she decided she would write books essentially that she wanted to read on the shelf, that she wanted to find on the shelf. So most of her books, she basically is striving for a combination of the Chronicles of Narnia and Point Blank. Gayle Forman is writing middle grade now. She's going to be writing something in middle grade. Maggie Stiefvater is writing an adult book that's involving drag racing in the streets of Washington, D.C. That's awesome. There's apparently a bunny farm somewhere nearby because Maggie and Gayle went to a bunny farm. So I will, of course, show you the books that I got signed. As you probably already guessed, I did get I Was Here, her latest book. I said, man, if I'm going to get any book by Gayle Forman tonight, I'm getting I Was Here because I really want to read this book. You know you're starstruck when you basically tell an author you have an identity crisis every time you eat a pastry. Yeah, they had little post-it flaps where you could get your name written on them, if you were getting your books personalized, which obviously I was because I'm greedy when it comes to books. And my name is, unfortunately, if I say it, I usually turn right around and spell it, because it's not spelled the way most people think it's spelled here in the US. What can you do? But she wrote it for me, and if you know the pastry, the Madeleine, my name is spelled exactly the same way, and we sort of mentioned, you know, it's like a pastry. I was like, yes, now I get to have an identity crisis every time I eat a pastry. Go figure. Probably not my most shining and bright moment. I did also get signed a copy of Just One Day, and despite the fact that Gayle Forman mentioned she wanted to drown these characters in a bathtub, because they do a lot of waffling, I did still get a copy. Very signed. I know this book involves a girl, literally just like girl meets boy in Europe, which I thought was cool. I studied abroad, and so that's why I really wanted to get this one. From Maggie, I of course got the first 2 books in the Raven Boys cycle, The Raven Boys and The Dream Thieves. I did not get Blue Lily Lily Blue because it's still only available in hardback. But I did get both of these signed. I love that she writes in all caps, because literally that's how I write whenever I write with a Sharpie. And then I did also get a hardback of The Scorpio Races by Maggie Stiefvater. I felt it was only fair if I was getting a hardback from Gayle Forman, I would get one from Maggie Stiefvater, and Scorpio Races is my favorite by Maggie Stiefvater, without question. I love the Raven Boys. Like, I can't even explain how much I love the Raven Boys, but I love the Scorpio Races all that much more. If you watched my top 14 of 2014, I said this was my 3rd favorite book I read in 2014, beat only by 2 others that literally left me like either in shock or in sobs. She did sign it for me, and she drew a horse. And she says she feels weird if she doesn't draw a horse in the Scorpio Races, and it scares me how fast she can draw that horse. Just like, she just like lets it out. I'm going, man, that is talent. That is so cool. All in all, it was a really fun night. I laughed, I had a good time. There was some great advice and great stories told. I loved Gayle Forman's story of how she decided to write I Was Here. She called it her affair novel that she was writing while she was like supposed to be working on Just One Day and Just One Year. It really was germinated from her experience as a journalist, and it was fascinating to listen to. This is the stuff that I love to hear. But that's it for me tonight, you guys, and so until next time, cheers.